But we want to welcome you this morning, and we're right here in WETA Studios. Marilyn Cooley, I'm Patrice Pasquale, and our special guest is Larry Jaffe. Larry Jaffe is the editor of the Walford Gazette, has a great Washington connection to EastEnders, and we'll be chatting with him in just a few moments.
$150 is the pledge level, and we will have this sent to you, the Albert Square and Me, the Actors EastEnders book. The book contains 52 exclusive interviews with your favorite EastEnders actors, and Larry Jaffe is the editor of this book too. Larry, this is kind of an exciting new development for EastEnders.
Well, I've thought about doing this book for 17 years, and I finally got around to doing it this spring. So it's really a fulfillment of my dream to actually put all this information into one book.
And go ahead.
Well, I have 52 interviews. Now, we know the cast size is quite large, but you have really chosen some of their favorites to really sit down and talk
That's
with.
right. The book is divided into two halves. The Den and Angie years, which I would say was the first 6 or 7 years of the show, and many fans still prefer that time. And then the second half of the book is the Mitchell years. And the Mitchell family certainly reinvigorated EastEnders, and they still, remain on air today.
And actually, you became a fan of EastEnders right here in WETA.
That's right. Back in 1988, I was living in Washington, D.C., and I did not have cable TV, and WETA was one of my favorite stations. And I remember watching the very first episode, and I was hooked immediately.
Big surprise.
Thank goodness for us. Now we got the Walford Gazette, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess that we can take a little credit here at WETA for bringing you the Walford Gazette. If we hadn't hooked you from the get-go in the EastEnders, it's really so great to see all this activity. Larry, you must feel great. I mean, this is a community that you have helped kind of keep together in a way.
When I first came up with the idea for the newspaper, I had no idea I'd still be doing it 17 years later. But it's been a joy, and meeting fans, we have so much in common. The strange thing is, we might never have met otherwise. And it sort of reminds me of the science fiction film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, how people are drawn together but don't really know why.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, but now we know why. It's the Walford Gazette,
yeah, right.
And EastEnders. And so you first saw the show here in Washington in 1988, and you said you were hooked right away. What do you mean?
Well, I've always been an Anglophile, sucker for a British accent.
Yeah.
But like most Americans who like things British, it doesn't make a difference if it's the costume drama or if it's what they classify as a soap about a Cockney working-class neighborhood. I was immediately drawn to it because Tracy Ullman was the host, and I knew a little bit of her work already as a comedian. And I remember this fight in the pub at the Queen Vic, and Nick Cotton and Den Watts is chucking Nick Cotton out of the pub for fighting. And over the years, I've gotten to meet most of the members of the cast in that very first episode. In fact, Leonard Fenton, who plays Dr. Legg, was one of the two forwards in the book, wrote it especially for the book.
And you've been able to do interviews with, is Wendy in the book?
Wendy's in the book. In fact, the entire Fowler family are in the book.
Wow, that's fabulous.
So yeah, Wendy and I were very close friends. I was very sad when she died in late February. But I did get to see her in the spring of 2008, and we had a wonderful time together.
All right, we'll have to get some tidbits from that interview in the next forthcoming book, Albert Square and Me, the Actors EastEnders book, 52 exclusive interviews with your favorite EastEnders actors, a great cover that we're going to be talking about.
Well, it's interesting, too, Larry. I have to ask you about the cover of Albert Square and Me. It looks like the Queen, is it?
That's right. That's
oh, my goodness.
Queen Elizabeth II. Being shown around the set of EastEnders by Wendy Richard and Barbara Windsor. I selected the photo because it really sort of capsulized what EastEnders is all about. It's a British institution who's a bigger British institution than the Queen, and that she had expressed interest to see how they make the program. I thought that was perfect for the book. And also, both Wendy and Barbara are out of character, and the book is really about the actors, not the characters.
So that gives you another perspective of how they're playing these parts.
That's right.
Now we have some photographs, I think, that were taken while you were on the set. This must be a dream come true for you to have been there and done. Oh, what are you holding the Gazette there?
I'm holding the Gazette. The actor, you can't really see it there, but Tony Caunter was our cover story that issue that he plays Roy Evans. This was probably that was probably the second time I was at the studio.
Oh, this is such a lovely picture.
This is a photo of Wendy, Richard, and myself and her dog Shirley Brahms, who was named after her character from Are You Being Served?
Oh, that's right. Excellent.
Wendy and I were really good friends, and we used to see each other a lot in London and in New York.
Excellent.
This is me standing in front of the Queen Vic. I think this was actually my very first visit to the studio. I could tell by the jacket. This was me a few years later behind the Queen Vic bar. The reason why I was wearing a beard was I had a wrist surgery. You could see the harness on my wrist there. So it wasn't easy for me to shave. So.
You could shave, but you could still pour a beer. That's really great.
That's the important thing.
This was a candid shot that I took of Sean Williamson, who plays Barry Evans, and Lucy Speed, and she plays Natalie. And any fan knows what their relationship is like. So I think that photo sort of captured it.